Brown family, how we doing? This is Yvette Carnell coming to you again. And today we're going to talk about something very important that we also talked about on the last episode. And for those of you who weren't here, I'm going to frame that. But before I do that, I want to tell everybody, make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Okay, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, I want you to like the video. I want you to share the video. If you're watching it anywhere, I want you to tweet it, especially if you're watching on YouTube. Tweet this, like it, tweet it, subscribe, share it with your friends. If you like it on Facebook, that means that more people get to see it. That determines kind of like how it gets distributed amongst people. So take some time right now before we get into it to do those things for me. You can also go to donatebrown.com and make a one-time donation. You can go to breakingbrown.com and make a donation that occurs every month. Anywhere from $3 to like $150 that you can donate a month towards what we're trying to do here and trying to keep it going. So don't forget to do all of that stuff. You can go to subscribe to Brown to subscribe to my mailing list, because what I'm trying to do is not have to just come to you through Facebook. I want to be able to come to you through something other than Facebook and YouTube, because you never know what's going to happen, right? So that's what I've experienced that before, so you never know what's going to happen. But I want to talk about something really serious, and I think we started talking about this. We started talking about this last week. We started talking about, black insanity in terms of how to relate to the data. How to relate, because what I hear, and I'm getting that from you all, because what I hear from everybody is, Yvette, this is depressing. This information is making me feel depressed. I feel defeated. I don't feel like I can do what I need to do. And for me, the key for me is that I'm not making you necessarily feel that way. That's the data that you're internalizing. But I want to get into a really deep conversation about black insanity versus black ignorance, versus black depression, and how some of those things feed into depression. How that's sort of coming to terms with black life. For some of you, coming to terms with black life is feeding into a depressive state as you sort of assess your situation. So that's what it is, right? Ignorance, and to give you an example, ignorance is I didn't know this information. That's ignorance. Insanity, on the other hand, is I know this, but I'm attached to a lie. I'm attached to a lie that is unsupported by evidence. Even though I know this thing you told me is true, Yvette, I'm attached to the lie. I believe that I can do it. Even though the data suggests that won't be my life. That's the insanity version. And depression is how that assessment of real life is making you feel as a black person in America. How that very real, because there's evidence that shows that depressed people are just very good at making assessments. Their assessments typically be better than the rest of ours, right? So that's what we're looking at, how this data and how all of what is happening in black life is kind of feeding into what black people are having to deal with. So we're going to take a look at that, but as I do every week, what I like to do is frame things for the people. I want to frame this for the viewers in terms of helping you understand and helping me understand, because I understand with you how we got here, and helping you understand if you are one of those people who's depressed, or you just kind of feel like, well, if what Yvette is saying is true, I must be insane. If you are one of those people, I'm going to play a video. And after that video, immediately after that video, I'm going to come back for a second, and then I'm going to play a clip. And I want to juxtapose those two things in a way that really highlights what I'm trying to say and the case that I'm trying to make. So if we could just play that clip right quick.
Is this the land history promised? Here, within these lines. Here, you're defined by your actions, not your looks or beliefs. Equality should have no boundaries. The bonds we find here should run past these lines. Opportunity should not discriminate. The ball should bounce the same for everyone. Worth should outshine color. If we can be equals here,
we can be equals everywhere.
Is this the land history promised?
Okay, now, that's clip number one. You all saw that. Let me explain to you what you saw. You saw Serena, you saw LeBron, and you saw them, talking about equality. And if we can be equal out here on this pavement and on this court, then equality exists, right? Like if we can be equal in this, equality exists. Am I right? Is that what you saw? But here is another. I'm going to show you another clip. And I want to juxtapose the clip that you just saw against what I'm about to show you. Now take a look at this clip right here. Now this clip that I'm showing you right now is from Thomas Piketty's book, Capital in the 21st Century. That's what this is. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is important. I want you to read what I want you to take a moment. Don't listen. Read what he says about how the income inequality here is probably higher than any time that in any other society and any time in the past anywhere in the world. You got these people talking to you. These people are talking to you about equality. And Thomas Piketty, the foremost economist in this field, is telling you that it is as unequal a society, America, as has ever been in the world. That's what he's telling you. And when we talk about black insanity, what I'm telling you is that I'm not the reason that you're crazy. I'm not the reason that you're depressed. LeBron's the reason that you're crazy. Serena's the reason that you're crazy. That's the reason you're feeling depressed, because you have been fed this, because these people have been social engineering in a way that is very destructive to black life. And when I say that, what do I mean, Yvette? What do you mean social engineering? LeBron's job isn't to get out there on that court. His job is to sell you cheap shoes that you don't need. Okay? You were never going to be LeBron. LeBron is a 7-foot tall mutant. Unless you are also a 7 feet tall mutant, you're not going to be him. He's like 6'8". He can't talk to you about equality. He doesn't know what that means. He wasn't born equal. He wasn't born the same height as other people. That's not who he is. That's not how he was born. So Serena Williams was able to practice against Venus. That's what she did. So you had the number 1 and 2 players who were able to compete against each other. Was Venus at your house making you a better player? Did that happen to you? Maybe I missed that. How can these people talk to you about equality and about what equality means? And that's what they're doing. And that's what they're paid to do. That's what they're paid to do. They're not paid. Do you think they're paid? LeBron is really just paid to go out there on that field? No, he's paid to make you buy into a dream that never really existed for you in that way. You were never equal to Kevin Durant, another 7-foot tall mutant. You were never going to be equal to LeBron James. But they're going to have, their job is to make you buy into this American dream and make you think, if I did it, you can do it. That's their job, and they're driving us crazy doing it. This is social engineering. And social engineering is a real thing. Okay? So I want you to understand what that means. I want you to understand the role that these people play in your life and what they say and what we know about economics. There's a very big difference between what they say and what they tell you and what we know about the economic impact of calcification of wealth at the very top that is creating the manifestations of this sort of ignorance and insanity that we're seeing now amongst the African American community. What we're talking about in terms of wealth is, who were your parents? Who were your grandparents? What were the wealth transfers in your life? And for those of us, let me do a quick recap. For those of you, some of you who were not here, have not been with us during the entire time of this broadcast. You all were not with us at the beginning. I'm gonna share some things, that white people don't necessarily tell you about the wealth transfers that they give to their kids. And the wealth transfers have, and I'm not talking about all white life. I have to go through this every time, because every time there's a white person to come, it's like, well, I'm poor. Yeah, but you have everybody in your class. Middle class, super rich, all of that. We're not like that. We're flat. We come from slaves. I know that hits you hard to hear it, but that's the reality of our life, right? Okay. And these people aren't telling you, white people don't tell you about their grandparents and their wealth transfers. They don't tell you that. So what we have to do is kind of think about this. So depression is being overwhelmed. The data that I'm giving you is making you overwhelmed and you're unable to kind of move forward in a way that makes you feel good about yourself, or you can really actualize or do anything because you feel like, the opportunity has been taken from you. And in a lot of ways it has. But what I'm going to try to show you is some things that you can do. But these things I'm going to tell you don't involve you buying a yacht. They don't involve you buying a Bentley. They don't involve any of the things that the rich celebrities are telling you that you need. They don't involve flash. They don't involve dimes. They don't involve any of that. So, what you have to understand, I think, is that there are a lot of people who are invested in keeping black people insane, right? So when you look at all of the things they try to get us to buy, when we talk about social engineering, you understand that these people are invested in making us crazy. And that's a problem. That's a problem for us. They're invested in making us and maintaining us as useful fools. Now, when we look at what keeps us crazy, and we try to understand like what's going on, like I said, it's not the KKK, it's black celebrity. And one of the things that we have to do is divest from black celebrity. If you look at that clip, there's another, if you watch that equality video, Alicia Keys was also in there. She was in there in the background somewhere. But do you all remember? Does anybody remember when her husband, Swiss Beats, and I mentioned this on a previous show, was accused of using luxury cars that he had leased? These are luxury cars that he had leased, and trying to sell them or selling them. Do we recall that at all? Do you recall that she's there talking to you about equality, but her husband has been accused of this? What does that tell you? What does that tell you about who these people are and what they're doing in your space? They're only trying to extract from you their job. Before you think about whether or not you want to be these people, or whether or not you look up to these people, I want you to think about what their job is. I want you to think about their job. Think about the job of these people. Their job is to get you to buy into something that's not real. Their job is to be social engineers. Their job is to sell you stuff. Their job is to, Swiss Beats was apparently being loaned these luxury cars. Why was he being loaned these cars or whatever? So he could get you to buy into a dream. That was his job. That's what he was trying to do. And he started allegedly trying to make some money off of that. So do you really want to look up to somebody like that? Is that who you really want to be? And you have to understand that that's what keeps us. If you want to know what keeps us crazy, what's the thing that's keeping us crazy? What's the thing that's making us feel this disconnect from real life? Well, we feel like in our head, we're in this life over here. But even though our real life looks like this over here, it's what I mentioned on the previous, I don't know how many of you all caught the short video that was only like 16 minutes long, but it's what I said in there. I never met a black poor person because everybody who's black and who's poor thinks they're on their way out. And they're all looking for the escape route. And so because of that, you're not a good citizen. Because of that, you're not a good researcher. Because of that, you don't understand inequality, because you ain't got to understand equality. You just got to listen to what Steve Harvey said about parachutes. Some other little stupid video he had about you got to just take the parachute and jump, and you're going to fall flat like a pancake. Don't listen to this. His job is to sell you that stuff. Any politics that depends on being exceptional is a scam. That's not politics. Politics is for the most of us. Politics is for us as a group. Politics should not depend on us being like the exceptional 7-foot tall person. I'm never going to be that. You never going to be that. If you're depending on your child being born 7 feet tall, male, and having some sort of dexterity, then that is a problem for your life. That is a problem for your politics. And because we're in the same group, it's a problem for my politics as well. If you're an African American running around off of hopes and dreams, and that's what your fuel is in life, you're a problem for all of us. You're a problem. And we have gone into, there's a new understanding. And this is the way I want to frame this while we're talking about ignorance, insanity in the black community, and depression. There's a new billionaire class in town, ladies and gentlemen. It's not even like it was 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, or 20 years ago. Wealth is already here and it's not flowing anymore. And the only flow we have is up. That's what Thomas Piketty is telling you. That's why you need to, even if you can't pick up the book, that's why you need to go on YouTube and read it. What we're seeing is a billionaire class in such a way that Thomas Steele said a while back that even single digit, I want you to think about this. Single digit millionaires are broke. That's why he said he took on Gawker. He said, I took on Gawker because single digit millionaires don't have enough money to defend themselves. That's what he said. Look at the clip. You can look it up. This is from The Intercept. The Trump fan Peter Thiel says single digit millionaires have no effective access to our legal system. If single digit millionaires have, and Peter Thiel is a billionaire, if single digit millionaires have no access to the system, the legal system, where does that leave black people who have been marginalized in this country from the beginning? You have to, he's telling you, Peter Thiel is telling you, listen, these people thought that they could, Hulk Hogan thought he could do it, because Peter Thiel paid for Hulk Hogan's lawsuit that ended Gawker. Hulk Hogan thought he could do it, but he's like, yeah, you don't have access, you only have a few $1 million. You can't do it. I got you though, I'm a billionaire, I got you, because I have a bone to pick. You're looking, and the head of Gawker, you know, y'all remember Nick Dent, the head of Gawker is a millionaire, and he had to file bankruptcy.
Yvette, you're telling me that Peter Thiel, a billionaire, ruined all these people's lives just because he had a bone to pick.
He had a bone to pick. They outed him as gay. And so he was like, he kept watch. He watched day in and day out. He said, I'm going to find these people. I'm going to get these people. They're going to slip, and I'm going to get them because they shouldn't have outed me.
He just had a bone to pick. And that's it. 40 people, staff and all that people.
All that gone. Gawker gone. It's over. Gawker's over. And the millionaire owner had to file bankruptcy too. And he's a millionaire. He's a millionaire. Do you understand what that means? That means that wealth is more pronounced in your life. What that means, let me tell you what that means. That means that background is everything. That means right now, your lineage is everything, because you're not going to make yourself a billionaire. We're not in that time. You would have needed to be white a century or so ago, or even further back. You would have been a white person a long time ago to make that kind of money. We're not in that era no more. So what this means in terms of there not being that sort of upward mobility is that your background matters. And our background is slavery, sharecropper, all of that stuff. So that is your background and who you are is much more pronounced now than any other time in history. It matters more now. And this is the time where we need government to intervene. That's fine. You know, but this life that people are talking about, this multi-millionaire billionaire life, even most white people are not going to have access to that anymore if things don't change. And by change, I mean pitchforks.
Yeah.
The pitchforks will have to come for that to be a real big change. It would have to be the pitchforks, but the pitchforks haven't come yet, right? And it wouldn't be just us. It couldn't be just us. You know, it couldn't be just me and you and other black people. That's not gonna happen. We already know what they'll shoot us down the street. We already know what that looks like for us, right? So when you think about that, when you think about how now success and opportunity in life is tied to not only wealth, but it's tied to massive amounts of wealth. Think about what that means. And you can tell me, people want to tell me, well, Yvette, that's not true. Well, we have 13% of the population and none of the resources. Tell me how that's not true. Just tell me. We own less than 1% of the rural land. Just tell me. So tell me how that's not true. So when everything is tied to massive wealth, you even see that in terms of college. All we have is citizenship. We don't even want to protect that. All we have is citizenship, and we don't even want to protect that. But wealth is tied to massive amounts of money. If you get to throw up clip number 5 for me.
Yeah, you got it.
Because I want to show you how wealth is manifesting itself in life now. And it's getting worse. That's the thing. Like if you look at get a chance, instead of going on Instagram and all of that, if you get a chance, I want you to go and look at the Forbes list for like the last 5 or 6 years. And you'll see the people at the top calcifying their wealth at the very top. That's what you'll see. And that money doesn't come from nowhere. That money comes from the bottom. And the people at the very bottom are us. So this is a very big deal. And I think we need to understand it. And the problem is, in terms of the insanity and the depression in the black life, is how we are relating to the data. Okay? So look at that. Look at that college graduation. Look at how that is tied to wealth. Look at that. Just take a look at it. When I put it up, and you have to understand how this is going to impact your life. You have to understand that this is impacting your life. And there is no way to get around that impact. And insanity is not the answer. And I understand the depression, but depression is not the answer either. We're going to give you some answers going forward, but I just want to make sure right now that you're kind of tapped into where we are in terms of who we are and what we're going through. And then, like, people say that, it's very interesting, because what we need is to keep the capital in this country. But capital's not going to come in this country. You see a larger number of people who are fleeing this country in terms of their citizenship. Rich people who have decided they're no longer going to be citizens because they don't want to pay. And that's where we are. So when you think about, students, there's another great clip that said at 38 colleges, more students come from the top 1% than from the entire bottom 60%. I want you to think about that. At 38 colleges, more students come from the top 1% than from the entire bottom 60%. Think about that. Think about what that means for your life. Somebody said it's always been that way, though. It hasn't. It hasn't. Thomas Piketty said this is the worst. Like, you have to read The Economist. Thomas Piketty said this is the worst it's ever been. And it's getting worse. You can't say that. That's what I mean about being divorced from the data. You can't say it's always been that way. It hasn't always been this bad. You know when it's bad for white people, it's bad. You know when you got white people electing Trump because they can't take it no more, it's bad. It hasn't always been this way. Like, that's what I mean. You have to check the data. You have to check the data. You have to. If there's only one thing that I can say, if there's only one thing that I can say to you, what I want to say is you have to. You absolutely have to. And this goes to my solutions. This goes to my solutions. And I'll bring it up in a second. Even white kids are needing help with rent right now. They're telling you they do it on their own, but they don't. Even white kids need help with rent. And so, if you can, put up clip number 7 for me. And well, you know what? Put up clip number 5 first. I want to show that college graduation.
Oh yeah, that was up.
That was up. Okay. There's another one though. There should be another clip. Clip number 6. I'm sorry.
All right.
This is also goes to college graduation.
Okay.
I want you to just look at this. The people who are going to school. That's that at 38 colleges, more students come from top 1% of income than entire bottom 60%. That's what I just read to you. Take a look at that. And understand what that means. And this isn't from just anybody. Fabian Pfeffer is like one of the top economists on inequality. This has an impact on your life. And when you get up, put up clip number 7. Now, after Ironman gets up clip number 7, I really want him to read something that he posted. Or just describe what he posted on Facebook, because that's kind of where this conversation derives from. He put a post on Facebook about the insanity, the ignorance, and the depression. And I really want to talk about it in the framing that he set up.
All right.
Okay?
All right, so if you don't know, I'm a philosophy grad student at the University of Georgia right now, and I'm writing a paper on mental health. And here's the deal, black people, we're not ignorant. We're not ignorant. There's nothing ignorant going on in the community. Ignorant is, I didn't know that, the median income, the median net worth of a black family was $1,700. I learned that now. I just thought I was broke, but I thought other people had money. Now I know that everyone else is broke. So you were ignorant, now you know stuff. That's fine. That's not the problem. We're smart. The problem is white capital is trying to keep us insane, and this is what insanity looks like. I've seen the numbers. I can understand the numbers. I'm functional. I know that black families, the median black family has $1,700 net worth. But I can't let go of the idea that I can make money and like get investment capital and just kind of go to my friends and do that just like white people, or like I always read from the comments, like the Jews. We can be just like the Jews. No. We know that that's not the case. We've seen the numbers. We understand numbers, but we're still holding on. And this is the insidiousness of our situation right now. We can't let go of the idea that our money does not move like their money. It does not move like their money because a lot of them made their money from our labor and then didn't pay us back.
But define those three things. Define ignorance.
So ignorance. I didn't know that a lot of black people were poor. I just thought it was just me. I was ignorant, now I'm not.
That's ignorance, yeah.
That's ignorance. Insanity. I know that all black people are poor, but I'm still clinging on to this idea that like I can get money like they get money. I can go to my uncles and they'll hook me up just like, white uncles hook up white nephews and nieces. I can't let go of that idea. Because I'm an American and they're American, I'm just like them. I know I'm not. I've seen the numbers and I'm smart. I know I'm not. But I can't let go of the idea. And that's in you. Both of those ideas are in you. You realize that it's ridiculous to think that your money moves like their money, but yet you can't let go of that idea. That's insanity. And then if we can finally get you to let go of the idea that your money moves like their money, then what we get on the comments is depression. I'm sad now that I've been told that my money doesn't move like their money and that I'm never going to get a yacht, and that like even if I make it $1 million or $1.5 million, Peter Thiel could rub me out if I make him feel bad. Now I'm depressed. That's where we are right now in the conversation. But we can do better than that. That doesn't have to be the end. Because now that we know who we are and we are honest with what we are and we're not clinging on to some idea that was never for us, we can see that one, we might be a little bit more prepared than most people to deal with the next 4 to 8 years. And two, there are things you could do about your life that make a very good life if you're honest with yourself, rather than being insane and thinking that you too can be like Kevin Durant. Even though you know that you're not, you know how tall you are. So let's move from that insanity. And capital wants to keep us insane. Nike wants you to believe that you are like LeBron James. They also need you functional. So like they don't need you absolutely insane. They need you to be able to work a job and pay $250 for the shoes. So like they want to keep you rational insofar as you follow laws and can work a job, but like clinging to an idea, insane insofar as you're clinging to an idea that if you thought seriously about, you would know that is not the case. And if you could allow yourself to be honest with yourself, you would know that's not the case. And I was on my Facebook page, I say that this is actually the case that like actually a lot of white women are in the same situation. Capital wants their husband to work like 60 hours a week. So it tells white women, you love cooking, cleaning, and taking care of all those bratty kids all the time, every day. You love cooking 3 meals a day. You want to homeschool them. You love cooking, cleaning, and taking care of all those kids. But it's insanity because we also need those women to be like functional, so that they're not irrational, so that they're not burning down the house when they're cooking, or like leaving the Clorox next to the crib. So this is how like white capital keeps certain segments of the population strategically insane to get what they need. They need you to be rational so that you can function as workers, but holding on to some dream that was never going to be for you. The dream is for them. And then once you let go of that dream that was never for you to begin with, the question is, what are you going to do with the depression? And I'm saying, as black people, one, we're a little bit more prepared than most, and two, there are things we could do to make our lives good lives, especially since we'll be honest with each other, and we'll be honest with our friends, and we'll be honest about like our responsibilities and our ability to make moves. We can still make moves, they just won't be yacht moves. There'll be nice moves that are appropriate to like black life.
And if we want to make big moves, that means we have to hold people accountable. If you want to make big moves, that means you have to know what's going on. That means you have to know what's going on and challenge the people who have prevented you from making big moves. That means having knowledge. But I want to address something somebody said. Somebody says the stock market a viable option for us. Here's my personal view, and I'm just going to give you my personal view. I just don't see how you escape white people or white racism by investing in white people. Like, the reason they're on the stock market is because they have all the damn money. That's why they're there. The reason you don't see more black people on the stock market is we don't have it. I don't know how you free yourself up from that by investing in that. By saying, I'm going to free myself from white people by investing in white people. I just don't see it. That doesn't mean it's necessarily wrong. Maybe that's something I don't see. I've been wrong before. I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm just telling you what I think. I'm just telling you what I think. I think you would be better off by investing in ourselves, investing in each other. And the stock market is about scale. It's about having money that scales fairly quickly. So, we talk about how all these white multimillionaires and billionaires stole our dreams by who they are, by what they became and how they became that way and when they got that wealth. And it's almost like you're investing in the people who stole your stuff. That's what it feels like to me. Now, what I'll say is this. They were only big dreams to begin with. What I'll say is this in terms of solutions. Because people ask about solutions. One of the things we have to do in terms of a solution is reassess. We have a lot of reassessing to go on. And one of the things we have to reassess, you can no longer assess your life through materialism. That's exactly what capital wants you to do. Capital wants you to assess your life through materialism. So if you're dating a guy and you're a black woman, and you're in a heterosexual relationship, and you're dating him and you're assessing him through materialism, through how much he has, you can't do that. Because the opportunity for him is limited. And it's vice versa. You can't assess her through that either. We can't assess each other through that. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you really want to be Oprah? Like, that's in terms of black women, that's who we look up to, right? Black men have their sports heroes, but do you really want to be her? She's alone. She doesn't have a family. She doesn't have any heirs. We talk about legacy all the time. Oprah doesn't have any heirs. Nobody to leave her money to that she trained to be over her money, who is her blood, or who she even adopted. And she didn't even choose to invest in African-American kids in this country who were descendants of slavery. She had to go all the way to South Africa to do it because she felt like we didn't want it or we didn't need it. You're talking about a woman who has a bad relationship with food, has an unhealthy relationship with food that she's had for years. I remember being in school when Oprah drugged that big thing of meat behind her, right? And talked about how she lost all that weight through fasting and through starving herself. That was then. Now she's still at it again. I saw a Weight Watchers commercial. She's still talking about it. Do you want to base your life off of someone like that who uses their failures in terms of their bad associations with food to sell a cheap product to poor people? So Oprah, who has all the access to shelves and stuff in the world, is using her bad relationship with food to sell you a product. That's what. Do you really want to be these black people who are there? When you think about how they got there?
Shouldn't Oprah just admit that she likes food?
I mean, she just leave me alone about it.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. I don't care if you're big. I don't think most black people care if you're a little big. Oprah is not an enormous woman. I don't think any of us care. I don't look at Oprah and think less of her like, oh, she's a little overweight. No, nobody care. You care. That's your problem and your unhealthy relationship with food and how you view yourself. I don't want to be like you. I know a bunch of black women who are big or bigger than you and don't internalize that and cry about it on TV like you did. And the reason, and yours makes less sense because most black women don't have that kind of access to fancy food. We have access depending on where we live and on every corner. Even if in every corner there's a Church's Chicken, there's a Popeye's Chicken, there's a Burger King, there's a McDonald's. It's harder for us to eat right.
Let's not pretend that Oprah doesn't eat her Popeyes.
She's eating something. I mean, her chef might have cooked it. It might not be Popeye. Her chef might have cooked it. But my thing is, don't make that. Don't use that to sell product. You're using that to sell Weight Watchers and using it to sell a story. And I'm supposed to view you as my role model? You were too selfish to train kids. To have kids, now even if you didn't birth them, we got a lot of kids that need to be adopted. I wouldn't have any because the thing about it is I don't have anything in terms of legacy to pass down in terms of that kind of money. You have billions of dollars and you didn't think about, let me train some kids of my own to take care of this legacy as it goes forward. I don't want to be you, Oprah, because if I had that kind of money tomorrow, I would find some kids somewhere to train and raise up.
And you wouldn't have to go halfway across the world to get Negroes.
It's little black babies that need homes everywhere.
Yes.
I ain't got to go to South Africa. They right here. And I can help them right here. Yeah. And you have legacy. You have money. You have everything it takes to be successful. And you decided selfishly that that's something that you didn't want to do. That you didn't want to. You didn't want to build a legacy for yourself or for the community. Somebody said she loves bread. Y'all don't have no sense. So, no, it's not about, somebody said we have bigger problems than Oprah's weight. It's not about Oprah's weight. You're missing the point. The point is for you to say that you want to be that person. Why do you want to be Oprah and these billionaires and black millionaires that you see so bad? Don't you realize that they have a lot of stuff that about them that's toxic? It's not about your weight. Why are you using your weight to sell me a product? Why are you using that to sell Weight Watchers? Why are you using that? And why are you 30 years in the game talking to me about the same stuff? I don't want to be around anybody who talks to me about the same stuff 30 years later. 30 years later, you should have solved that goddamn problem by now.
With $1 billion.
Yes. And even if you did have $1 billion, if Iron Man, we talking about something right now, he said I have a problem, and 30 years later, Iron Man still talking about me, Iron Man gonna be friends no more. Iron Man, damn, you should have fixed that by now. What are we talking about? I don't want to hear about a 30-year-old problem, especially when black people do have bigger problems. So yeah, you're right, we do have a bigger problem than Oprah's weight. So Oprah should stop talking about it and do something more beneficial. She had us talking about the butler. She brought out the butler. Did you ever notice that the butler was very, very neutralizing in terms of black politics? It was very Booker T. Washington. If you just keep your head down and white people will eventually do right by you and we'll understand what's wrong with them rowdy Black Panthers. Do you really want to be her? That's what I'm asking you. I made the point the other week to say, do you want to drive a Ferrari? Well, Oprah's job is to kind of pacify black people. That's the job of most celebrities. I want to be non-toxic. That's what you want to be too. So I think that's one of our solutions has to be to deleverage from these people.
Yes.
These people are our enemies, and not for the sake they got money, but because of what they're doing with that money and what they got, how they got that money. These people are our class enemies.
They're enemies for what they're trying to sell us. They're not trying to sell us the politics that'll get us where we need to go as a people.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell us the notion that we're equal to Kevin Durant.
Yeah, and there are a lot of notions that we have to disabuse ourselves of. One of the notions is that charity can be used to restructure society. That's not how it works. There's a reason we pay taxes. You can't use charity to come in. Charity will not save you. It will not save me. The only thing charity does is put people like Bill Gates and other billionaires in charge of things they shouldn't be in charge of. Part of the solution is disabusing yourself of certain notions that don't work. They ain't never work. Charity will not clean the water in Flint. Don't listen to anybody who tells you differently. I don't care if it's John Legend, LeBron James. LeBron James on a TV show carrying a bag of money will not clean the water in Flint. Don't give me all these feel-good charity stories about what this star did or this star. That's not what this life is. That's not what this life is about. That's not how you get stuff. That is through government. That is through the redistribution of wealth, through resources. That is how these kinds of gains are made. I need everybody to understand that. How are we having problems understanding that?
All right. You need to tell the people who you are.
Everybody, Yvette Carnell, if you're watching this right now, I need you to go up right now. If you're on Facebook, go up and share it. Go up and like this video. If you're on YouTube, I need you to go up and like it. If you're on Twitter, tweet it. Subscribe to the channel. Also, we have to pay for stuff. So I need you can go to breakingbrown.com and subscribe. There's subscribe PayPal on the right, and you can use any credit card. It doesn't have to be just you don't have to have a PayPal account. I also need you can go to donatebrown.com and donate. You can go subscribe to Brown and subscribe to my channel. You can do all of those things. So let's do that. Now let's get back to solutions. One of the solutions that I see, part of the problem in terms of depression, I think, is that a lot of us feel isolated. A lot of us feel isolated. And I think part of the problem with that isolation, or part of the reason we feel isolated, is because we're the only ones who know this, or we're the only ones who feel this. And so we feel like, and we hear people talking about this, and we feel alone. And I think part of the thing in terms of, even with this show, I think you can share it and watch it. Like, have a night where we're just going to watch Yvette, and then we're going to ask Yvette questions, and we're going to ask Irony questions, and we're going to figure this thing out together. Like, this needs to be like something that you do together, something that we do together, because life is changing, and life is changing fast. Building community is one of the solutions. I don't care if you build community just like we're building a community here. The Breaking Brown family, for me, is a family. Y'all set up and watch the Cosby Show out of aspiration. You can't watch me.
No, sit around, and we want to build a conversation. That's the goal, to build a conversation and raise the quality of conversation around black politics, and let people be honest with each other. So, like, if you want to build a conversation, if you want to be less alone with what you know about black politics, get some people around every Monday or Wednesday night, or it's on YouTube. You can just watch it. Gather around. Come, little children. Let's watch Yvette and Iami talk about black politics. Sit around and tell us why we're wrong. We could send an email to editor at Breaking Brown. Notice I didn't give my email. Send an email to editor at Breaking Brown.
I'm going to forward it out to Iron.
Send an email. No, go sit around, talk, have a book club. This is better than a book club because you don't have to prep. You just come, sit down, gather your people around, watch this show, and then talk about it. And
then follow. I mean, all this stuff, all the headlines stay up long enough for you to be able to see and write it and just Google it, and you can read the article. Right, and I have something coming out soon where I'm going to send you articles that I don't mention on this show and don't mention on Facebook that have to do with black life, and to kind of tell you where the puck is headed and where we're going. And read that. So this is about building community. We're building an online community, but you also have to build this in your own community. It's not about, well, I only live in this community for a while and I'm not going to get a tax. No, these people are your neighbors. These are the people that you need to go and challenge politicians with. Right? These are the people who you need to go and say, hey, if you're going to go vote, let's go vote with. These are the people that you do that with. If you're going to organize in your community, these are the people that you're going to organize with. You have to build community. But your community that you build with have to be knowledgeable, or it's not going anywhere. It's just not going anywhere.
We got to talk about this because a guy said on YouTube, I'm paying attention to you guys, YouTube, Yvette, but when some of us talk about these issues, our people shun us. I had 3 black women tell me they can't date me because of my politics. There's a lot of work to be done.
I'm not surprised.
Why are you not surprised?
I'm not surprised because we've kind of bought into that propaganda. Like, as a community, we bought into a lot of propaganda. So I'm not surprised that sets you up as an outcast. But if there are more of us, you're no longer an outcast.
We need to create the kind of people we need to be.
Yes, we need. Say it again, Iron.
We need to create the kind of people we need to be. Get your friends, sit them down on the show. They're going to get a little depressed. Say, it's okay. We're in it together.
And we're going to figure it out together. We're going to figure it out together.
This isn't as bad.
You can't be over there on their old woolly lump with your stupid self talking about stuff that's not true. And I totally understand. I totally understand. Like, if you were, I don't know if you would have got a date during the Obama administration. You would have, if you said I'm not opposed, I'm not in favor of Obama. I don't think you would have got a date. Yeah. I think until the rest of the black community comes around, I think you have to be okay with kind of being alone, because being alone sometimes means you have high standards. Right. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And find some, even if you find somebody who's not necessarily where you at, find somebody who is at least willing to learn and have open-minded, because you're not going to be good with anybody that's not open-minded. It's just, it's a bitch being involved with somebody that's not open-minded. Like, who wants that? So I think but I think you have to be okay with, like, while this shift is happening, maybe you can't date, and maybe you don't want to date that person. Maybe you don't want to date that person, but you're not going to be an outcast forever. We're going to get this thing straight. You're not going to be an outcast forever.
Yeah, one thing, college loan is something that's people just don't talk about. Like, we just need to be honest. That could be the first date. The good first date questions. How much you in debt? And if they have a problem with that, then, like, you don't want to be with them anyway. Like,
what you mean?
You can laugh about it. If you can't laugh about your college debt, then, like, I don't know. That's one of the pleasures of Black life. Just laugh about it.
Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, do it.
You sure can't pay it off. So I mean, and I think one of the things, somebody, you know, I'm gonna put this link. I'm gonna put this link on here right now, so that people who are watching on Facebook, you know, can at least see it. But there was a very good, put up that picture, put up that clip, number 9 of Octavia Butler.
You got it.
Because what we keep projecting into the future, like solutions, we keep projecting it, like, I'm going to have this $1 million, I'm going to get this thing. But I think we have to kind of reach back and get something that is important to us, or at least should be important to us, or should be valuable to us.
Look at Octavia Butler. No, I'll get it.
That should be valuable to us going forward in terms of our legacy in this country. Our legacy in this country, this is one of the few times that our legacy of poverty and our legacy of not having enough in this country,
we're inoculated.
Yeah, may actually be good for us.
As long as we stop flossing. All right, here's Octavia. There she is.
Okay, you see Octavia? I can't see it I can't see anything on my page. My page is like, there's a lag. It's like frozen or something. My page is like frozen. So but here's, now I wanna read to you what this person, I just put the link up, said about Octavia Butler. And then, you know, Parable of the Talents, Parable of the Sower, I've read them. If you haven't read Octavia Butler, now's the time to read it. Somebody said that she predicted Trump's slogan, "Make America Great Again." That was in there. You gotta read that. But let me just say what the writer said, and I put the clip up. It says, she said, what's so interesting to her is that white people always think of dystopias as looking forward into that scary future. But Black Americans can look back. They've already come through their dystopia. They had 200 years of horror and slavery, all kinds of things we imagine the future being like are what Black Americans already went through. That was our life. So right now, in terms of where the puck is going, we have something to reach from. We have something to reach in that other communities don't have. There's a reason why white people are killing themselves at rates not seen in the Black community. There's a reason for that.
They can't take a shot.
Yes, they can't take a shot. They can't take it. We can take it, and we know how to move and navigate with it. Now, I'm not saying we're necessarily have to do this every day, all day, but I'm telling you, things might get really bad. It might get bad. And I'm telling you that we have what it takes to get through it and move through it and build something out of it. But we can't all day be focused on vision boards. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. You know, hopeful. Put up clip number 10 real quick if you can.
The vision board.
The vision board is not going to work.
But it's a secret.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, all right, it's up.
So look at that. Now, this is how I knew something was wrong with us. We have the least, but we're the most hopeful. We are the most hopeful. It's a type of optimism that I don't even know where it derives from. But we are the most hopeful.
The propaganda works. That means the propaganda works.
That means the propaganda works, Iron says. It means the propaganda works. Maybe.
I, too, can be LeBron James. Or maybe, yeah.
And I think I'm just gonna say in terms of tools also. I think, you know, one of the things that I will say, as we kind of close out and get ready to go to the phones, one of the things that I will say is that now is the time to become a better citizen.
Yes.
You have to become a better citizen. You have to understand what it means to become a better citizen. You have to understand what your responsibilities are in terms of citizenship and why your citizenship means so much. So what I want to offer in terms of solutions also is what I like to call, I'm gonna start doing this as a recurring theme. Talking about your tool to make you smarter. So I put up clip number 11. Yeah. This is your tool today to make you smarter. I do podcasts a lot. This is a podcast. And this is your tool to make yourself smarter. Okay? This is a podcast. It's Civics 101. You can log into like I use CAS, and I'll show you my podcast in a second. But that's what I use. And I downloaded it. I downloaded it from my iPhone. But it's just a quick hit of things you need to know about, executive orders, things you need to know about what Trump can and cannot do, things you need to know about the legislative process. Just quick hits. It's only 12 to 13 minutes, some of the stuff. You may not agree with everything in terms of how it's framed, but just you have to understand how all of this stuff works.
I'm about to say something really controversial. Might get you in trouble. But I'll be honest, learning how that works is more important than learning how the stock market works. Right now, if you're a black person, I'll say it. A lot of people say, no, black people, we just need to get in the stock market. First of all, if you make money in the stock market, you're not making it by investing in black companies. They're not on the stock market. Second, you need to have money to make money. But learning how your political system works and the local contracts and the local players in your municipal, state, and federal politics works and where you can move, that can lift whole communities. No rich person, no charity can get the water clean and get the lead out of your water. Oprah couldn't get, even some small town in Mississippi, Oprah doesn't have enough money to get their water clean. We're talking about billions of dollars. And the only institution with enough money is government. So we need a black politics. If you're serious about actual black community uplift, and a community uplift that doesn't look like making sure everyone is exceptional, because that's not community uplift. That's like giving everyone a lottery ticket. If you're serious about black community uplift, we need to get our politics right. So some people will say well, you just need to invest in the stock market. I'm saying no. You need to figure out your local government. You need to figure out your state government. You need to work with other black people so that we're honest with each other and come together and demand what we are owed.
Yeah, I agree.
You said you agree that's more important to learn about this than the stock market?
I agree. Because the people who are the billionaires who are doing this, they know how all this stuff works. They know how all of it works. And so what I will tell you, black people, put up clip number 12. This is just a quick glimpse. I subscribe to about 50 different podcasts. This is a quick glimpse of my podcast. This is a quick glimpse of the top. Now this is just the top few. Some of them for pleasure. Some of them, for, the majority of them for information. This is just the top glimpse of some of the podcasts that I subscribe to. What I'm telling you, black people, is we have free access to some of the most brilliant minds in the world through YouTube, through Twitter, through all of that. There is no reason not to take advantage of that and use that in our politics. None whatsoever. There's no excuse for not making ourselves smarter. There's no excuse for not doing any of these things that makes you a better citizen, and a better citizen is more prepared to organize their community and push their governments in a way that is beneficial to outcomes for them. That's what we need to do. There is no excuse for this. There is no excuse for the fact that we are not made smarter by our own selves. You don't have time to be following no stupid stuff I know what you don't have time for. You don't have time for, I'm going to say it. You don't have time for News 1. Lord have mercy.
Oh, no.
You don't have time.
Why can't you leave a black man alone? Why can't you? He's a role model. No. He's an image. I saw it. He got the award. He's a role model.
Not just him. It's not just him. I want you to put up. No. Put up clip number 13. Up clip number 13.
Ooh, you were busy today.
I was busy.
Got 13 clips. All right.
This is the last one. You got to put this one up. Put up clip.
It's up.
Oh, do y'all see that? I saw this today. Obama ain't even in office no more. And this is that's all they can talk about. All they still can talk about is the Obamas, and he's gone. This is not going. Listen, what you need. Let me tell you something. What you need to start asking yourself is, how does this thing I'm watching or doing make me smarter? Right. How does it make me more prepared
to organize my community and get what I need?
And how does it make me more prepared to do what I need to do and face what's coming and to understand the terrain? Because people say, well, Yvette, how do we win? You're not going to win nothing if you don't understand the terrain. In terms of warfare, that's one of the first rules. What's the terrain? If you don't know there's a big mountain up there and you got people and you got soldiers on the other side hiding behind it, you don't know anything.
If you're lying to yourself and about how much you and your friends have and your access to resources, you're not in the game. You're food.
You're food. Somebody said something very good. They said, if you are not, and the dude called in the other week, but he said, if you are not at the table, you're on the menu. Well, we're kind of in a space, we don't even know what a table is, like how to get to the table, what is it. But all the information on how to do that is free. People say, well, white people are stupid too. They don't read either. I can't be concerned about that. They're not in the same position as us. They're not in the same position as us. Look at the incarceration rate of black men, the poverty levels of black community, the how we're all mostly working class. They don't have the same situation. It's not the same thing. So the stuff that we need, that I have described in terms of accessing information, in terms of podcasts, in terms of assessing stuff not through the lens of materialism, in terms of rejecting black celebrity, all of that stuff, the solutions that I offer are here, but none of them are sexy. Organizing your community ain't sexy. No. But these are the sorts of things that have to happen in order for real change to happen. That's what I'm trying to get through to you. I can't tell you how to get $1 million in your bank account in the next 10 years. And I can tell you that anybody who's telling you that is lying. Nobody can tell you how to do that. And we're in a stage where it don't matter like it used to matter. No way.
I'll be honest, since we are giving a little bit of relationship advice, if you're looking for somebody, the person who's with you willing to help organize a community to get what we need as a community, who's willing to do that political work, that might be someone you want to be with.
That was let me just say this. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Well, I'm two more things. Then we go to the phones. Did we put the phone number up? Okay.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay, and then we can go to the phones. Listen, understand the value of your time. If you don't understand anything else, understand the value of your time. That's one thing that you do have, nobody can take away from you. And how you use that time is very important. And I ain't talking about organizers. I'm gonna tell you, dude, don't look for somebody who's gonna be kind to you. In terms of who you want to have in your space. Kindness is important. Stop looking for all this other stuff. You need somebody who's gonna be in the trenches and who's gonna be okay. You might have somebody just rub your head, rub your back, man or woman, rub your feet and just be all right. Don't start all this other stuff, these trappings. Don't look out in your, I'm talking about for friendships too. Don't look for that. That's not what we're looking for. Understand the value of your time, get smarter, be a better citizen, and look for stuff that matters. And that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah. All right, we got 4 phones.
Okay, so let's go to the calls real quick.
We'll take this person. Hello, you're on.
Hello?
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 Yes.
Hello? Hey, Yvette, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm calling from Williamsburg. Yeah, I wanted to, Williamsburg, Virginia. I wanted to ask you, I just had 2 points. The first one is when you had mentioned about, mentioned about us being together, and I think what we need to do is come together as a community as black people. And also, did you see the report about the with a reporter where she was talking about the Congressional Black Caucus and President Trump?
Yeah.
He said something about he'll have her setting up the meeting with the Congressional Black Caucus. And what I can't understand is, why don't they meet with him? Because he want to give us the opportunity to be in the room, but nobody on our side want to be in the room, because we don't necessarily have to like him. But if he want to make a deal, then I think we should make a deal. What do you think about that?
Thank you,
Carl. I appreciate that. He's talking about April Ryan. If y'all don't know, he's talking about April Ryan, and everybody made such a big deal because Trump said, "Oh, well, you want to set up the meeting?" It was like he asked the only black reporter if she would set up the meeting, like she knew the Congressional Black Caucus. So that's not her role. April Ryan know all them people, and she could. Come on, man, stop playing games.
Hey, I got a hypothetical.
What's the hypothetical?
If you're in the audience and you ask Trump, "Why don't you meet with the Black Caucus?" and Trump says, "Yvette Carnell, will you hook me up with the Congressional Black Caucus?" What do you do?
Give me 30 minutes. Give me 30 minutes. Maybe
you say,
20.
Thank you.
Maybe 20. I appreciate that. I'll set it up. I'm going to just say yes because he's asking me a question. I just want to nail that right then and there.
Yes.
Like if he's asking me a question, I'm like, yes, I'll do it. And that means you're going to show up, Mr. Trump. I'm going to set up the meeting. You're going to come. You're committing to that right now, Mr. Trump. You're going to come to the meeting. I'm about to set up right now. Yes, Yvette,
And that means Yvette Carnell is in that room with like April Ryan could have done this a million different ways.
Yeah, because that means if I got to set up the meeting, I can sneak my little happy self in there.
Yes.
So I would have done it just to be able to, because I want the meeting to set up, but just to twist my little self in there too. I'm here too. I set it up. Mm-hmm. I'm reporting on this because that gives me an exclusive if I'm a reporter.
Instead, you're gonna cry like,
that's not what I do. That's not what I do. I am a reporter. I don't do these things. What's she report from the Urban Radio Network? Child, whatever, April. But I think I'd like to, in terms of the caller, yes.
By the way, Omarosa, if you're watching, if you get Yvette a press pass in that room, she is not fake news. She'll show up.
I'll show up.
Show up. So get me that press pass.
I'll show up. I sure will. I got lots of questions. I got lots of questions too.
Get that press pass.
So it is what it is. Yeah.
Let's keep going. It's nice that you'll take that press pass.
I'll take it. I'll take April Ryan's press pass. Snatch it. Give me that thing. You ain't using it. Give it to me.
All right, Carla, you're on.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, this is Leslie from Alabama.
Hey.
Hey.
Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I want to talk about how black folks is when it comes to reparations. I was talking about reparations to some friends of mine, and it's like when you talk about it, they immediately shut it down like it's like you asking for a government handout when you talk about reparations. And I'm like, no, it's not, because when you talk about slavery, black people, we were the economy at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So I explained to them, it's just like working and you never receive no pay.
Yes.
And it's just like they just immediately shut it down. It's like, it's not a handout. You ask them for what you owe.
Yep.
That's what they owe us.
Yep. You're exactly right, Carla.
Yeah, thank you.
It just gets me so angry. It's like, how do you,
But don't get...
I guess...
Don't get angry, though. Don't get angry.
It's kind of like what I'm saying. What I'm just saying is like I think they're more like they programmed to think a certain way, and I think that's what it is. Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
But
Carla.
yeah, I just want to talk about that though.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you for the call. I think you're right. I mean, I think handout is like this propaganda, this con game. That we've been kind of sold. When Goldman Sachs got a bailout from the government, they didn't be like, oh my God, I don't want a handout. But we, like the caller just said, we've been, this is services owed. This is payment for services rendered.
Yes.
This is not a handout. This is payments. These are wealth transfers that we didn't get that we need.
You know what?
That's
I bet you AIPAC, and AIPAC says, don't give Israel any money. Our country doesn't need a handout.
We don't need handout.
Don't give Israel any money. We don't want it. We want to earn it on our own.
And funny how countries that get handouts do so much better. Funny how Israel has universal health care, but we don't have it in this country because we don't want a handout from the government. Or we don't want. No, the government is supposed to make their citizens' quality of life good. That's what you're supposed to do. If that's not the case, why do I even want a government? GM got a bailout. Everybody get bailout. Everybody who has a lobbyist on Capitol Hill is trying to get money from the government. That's the whole game. That's what budgets are about. Trying to get money from the government.
And part of the game is to get us to not try to get money from the government. Part of their game is to get us to think of it as a handout or something that we're not owed. And that's Democrats and Republicans. Bill Clinton is the one who got black people ashamed of asking for what we're owed. It was under Bill Clinton that we stopped asking for contracts with affirmative action. It was under Bill Clinton that we were like, well, I guess we don't need welfare. It was a Democrat who got us asking, who stopped us from asking from what we were owed. He said the era of big government was over. And what he meant by that was the era of government for black people is over.
Ooh,
because,
no, say it again. You got to say it again.
All right, so Bill Clinton in 1996 said the era of big government is over. But if you've noticed over the last 20 years, it hasn't been the era of big government being over. It's the era of government for black people is over. Defense contractors got rich since the war on terror. The bankers get their bailout when they need it, and the auto companies get their bailout when they need it. Pretty much any industry that doesn't involve a lot of black people gets what they need. The pharmaceutical industry, they get what they need when they need it. So the era of big government's It's always been here, but he was pretty much saying that the government's done dealing with black people, and he somehow got black people to clap for that. And that's the con.
And that's the
a con we've been living
because I've set my butt down.
Yeah.
What you mean? Because I know what that means.
What do you mean?
So
that's a big deal. And if you notice, that's when the black middle class started drying up. That's when like mayors stopped setting aside contracts for black businesses. That's when schools stopped doing affirmative action. That's when employers stopped getting pressure from black groups to hire people who are black, except like, and yeah. So these are Democrats.
okay. Hello?
You're on.
Yo.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can hear you.
Yvette.
Yo!
Yo. Hey, this Theodore. I'm from the nation's capital, and my mama's a baby boomer, and she gets on my nerves, and you give me the fire that I need to fight her back when she get to tune her own horn around here. You know what I mean? Talking about, yeah, everything's mine. I pay for this, I pay for that, and you ain't doing nothing, so on and so forth. And I didn't have nothing for that, so you said, wait a minute, y'all baby boomers got affirmative action, and y'all had help and all of that. And I'm like, yeah. So when I got the fire for that, now she can't handle the fight.
Good. Very good. And then stuff was cheaper too. Tell her stuff was cheaper during that era too. And even when you discount inflation, stuff was cheaper. Everything's more expensive now.
Right. But yeah, you know, I really love you. I watch the show on a regular basis. It's all I watch. That's it. I stopped watching TV years ago. You know what I'm saying? And I'm at the point now that this is all I watch. And just recently I picked up on Shirley's Who Saw channel, so I'm watching her. Oh wait a minute, Antonio Moore as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Good.
All these people, all good people. I say all good people.
Yeah. I'm watching all of y'all. And, you know, the thing of it is, you know, this baby. And see, the problem is, wow, I have the worst of the worst. I mean, this person, you know, this. And see, the thing, I can say what I want to say because she don't watch the internet. She won't watch this. You know, she tell me I need to stop watching you. You know what I'm saying? But in any event, this person, she thinks she's white. You know what I'm saying? she sit back in the day. Back in the day, listen to me. Back in the day, she sit there and toot her horn, throw it all up in my face. I'm like, oh, I make over $100,000 a year. I'm a GS16, and all of this old stuff. You know, and I sit back and I look at it now, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, all of the friends that I know that you have in the government, all of y'all, black women. Real black women, and I ain't talking about, you know, the ones that come from Africa. Those ain't, you know, I'm talking about the descendants of slaves. That's where we at.
I know.
I like this
They
guy.
got affirmative action and all of that, and got their little government job. But there was a clause in that they didn't know about. You will be a single black woman. You will have everything you want, but you will not have you a husband.
He said it.
You know what I'm saying? And I can name out 4 of them, and that's just the ones that I know. You know what I'm saying? So who knows how many there are of them that I didn't know? I just know this little circle of friends that she had, and all her little single black women friends were single. But they had they had all the money they wanted. They had houses, cars, Mercedes, and all of that, but no husband, no love.
Ooh.
Well, they didn't want to date down.
That sounds like well he said, but like you know, sometimes they feel like I don't want to date down. Now understanding that black men have limited options in terms of like, you know, in terms of like mass incarceration and everything that's happened. So you can't say that, like you can't I don't know if you can pattern yourself after white women because their men actually have money. Actually have access to real wealth.
Thank you, Carl.
I don't know. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Carl. Ooh. I mean, you
talk a little bit about black politics that works.
Yeah, Irony was saying that, you know, Marion Barry, you know, made sure that black people in DC, black business people got contracts. The black contracts went from 3% to 47% when he got in office. That's what black politics can do. That's what black politics can do. It can put money in black people's pockets. And stop
that's-
saying that it can't.
That's how you make a black middle
And
class.
it doesn't always have to be like president. Like, he was a mayor. You also have people on councils and all kinds of stuff. You can have an effective black politics. I don't know if it's going to get you a yacht, though.
No, but it'll make people in your neighborhood get solid $20 an hour jobs. That's not nothing.
That's not nothing.
That's not nothing. All right, let's keep going.
Somebody said, I disagree. Black women historically do indeed date down.
Yeah, well, keep it up.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I got much love for my sisters. I'm not trying to say I'm just trying to say this caller's had his own set of experiences as well. Right? You know, in terms of, he's talking about, like, you know, women of a professional class. You might be the exception to the rule and not the rule.
And then we just gotta think about what down means. If he's nice to you and nice to your kids and nice to, is that down? Hey, look, hey, all right. Oof, Atlanta 404. I'm always scared. Here goes. I don't want this to be one of your cousins.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Good. So I'm a repeat caller. You might recognize my voice. Still not get my name though. So continuing, just a couple points I want to cover real quick. So some of the things that I see is issues. You brought up a lot of good stuff tonight, but one of the things I think is one of the biggest problems of the hindrance, the holdbacks of us really engaging in the type of politics and things that we need is that we don't have any good examples, whether it's in media or in real life, of stable black working or middle class families that are also promoting the kind of politics that we need to be practicing in order to move our community anywhere. And the reason for that is because, you know, a lot of us, you know, don't want to look at the data because the data is depressing, you know, and when we look at it, you know, like you guys said, we don't want to change up. We want to hold on to those fantasies because we built our whole life plan around those fantasies, and once they're gone, it's like, you know, who am I? What do I have left? We also too much we think of ourselves ourselves as individuals, economically and politically, and but as a group, we'll think of ourselves culturally. Which really, if we had flipped that, you know, we could have a lot more stuff going forward. I mean, you can have variations in the culture stuff, but, you know, we got to be lockstep with our politics so that we can get that economic piece that we really need. And lastly, one of the biggest issues that some people are going to get real upset on this one, but the problem is we have a lot of people that like to play Black Power cosplay and value that over real actual black politics.
No, you didn't say cosplay, did you?
You know, I'm gonna say, you know, you wanna wear your red, black, and green. You wanna wear your dashikis. You know, you wanna say I watch certain documentaries and videos by certain people. You know, and I'm black first, Black Power. But it's like, wait a second, what politics are you promoting that's gonna save the community? Because, I mean, you talk about all this, you know, Black Power, you know, we got to get together with, you know, all black people. But when it comes up to actually doing something, it comes up to do for self, you know? How are we a group, but we doing for self? Like, you can't, as a group, do for self. Like, that's an individual thing. As a group, you do politics.
Good. I like that. Yes. I like that. I like that. I like that. Yes. I'm going to write that down.
As a group.
It's the government keeps your lights on. Government, you know, fixes your roads. Government make sure there's a stoplight at that intersection so little kids aren't getting run over at the crosswalk. Government runs your schools. And lastly, I mean, if we're going to be paying, because it's not like we can just stop paying taxes. Like, we're already paying into it. It's like, no, give me what you owe me. I'm paying for a service, if you need to look at it that way. You're paying for a service. You're paying these people, these structures, to do for you and your community. You're paying them your tax dollars to provide things for you and your community. And when they're not being paid, when they're not getting those services and those products, that's a problem. Just like if you go down to the grocery store, you go to the restaurant, and you pay for a steak, and the guy next to you pays for a steak, and then the waiter brings the guy next to you both the steaks, and you just get the parsley on top. No, you would have a problem with that.
Yes,
you would
absolutely.
raise Cain in that restaurant. So this is equal exchange. I'm giving you my vote, my tax dollars. Do something for me, and if you don't do that, I got a problem, and I'm going to come after you in any way, shape, or form that I can within the political system. So that's what we need to be doing. That's all I had to say.
And we can do
Thanks
that.
a lot, you guys, for what you do.
Thank you.
Love you, and Jonelle, and there's a certain individual in the chat comments that always chats every week. She wants me to tell y'all hi. She watches y'all as well with me. I got her all to it. So I'm going to put money down to support you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for what you're doing. And yeah, we're getting married this year, so we're practicing our politics together.
Yeah, go ahead.
See, that's
Yes,
gonna
what
work.
you doing? That's what I'm talking about.
See, that's a marriage that works.
Politics together. Y'all practice. People who practice politics together stay together.
I was one of them outcasts too. I couldn't get a date because my politics were off. I wasn't all up with the cool hip stuff, but I found my number one.
Yes.
So
There you
Yes.
go. That's a happy
hang in
story.
there. Just stay firm on repping for the community the right way.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll let you guys know. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate that call. That's what I'm talking about. What a wonderful call. They get married and they watch the show. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Everything about that.
And they in politics. They talk politics together.
He
Yes,
said-
talk politics with your mate.
I got her to watch a show and we talk politics together. We come
Yes.
home, we do this. I like everything about that.
I love everything about that call. And she's in the background talking, and he's communicating what she's saying. I put money on y'all. Y'all gonna work out. I put money on y'all. But this man, let me tell you, brother, you said so much stuff that was so important. I hope people really listen to that call. He said, as a group, you do politics. You don't do for self. That's an individual. Politics is about the group. Politics is about the group. As a group, you do politics. Did you hear what he said? As a group, we do politics. You can't say politics isn't part of your life. That means you're just not a part of the group. And you don't have the resources to fly by yourself. You're not Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett can say, I don't do politics over there. I just do my own thing.
But Warren Buffett
He's worth
does
$70
politics.
billion. You don't get to say that.
But the thing is about these rich guys, they do politics.
They do they just buy the politicians. They buy the politicians. But if he wants, we could leave. But he won't because he knows what. That's what most of the money is. Like that's why all the money. Like he got billions of dollars. He still say, well, they got trillions. I'm gonna go over there. But we be like, I don't need it. We have $2. Be like, I don't need it. I don't want to go over there. I don't like it. I can do for myself. That's not how we do politics. And the example he uses, the steak, is right. We all pay. We're all citizens here. You can't have me order a steak, he order a steak, and then you send him both the steaks. Or even if I order chicken tenders, and he order a steak and a 3-course meal, then you send him my chicken tenders too? I don't get nothing? No, that's not how this works. But y'all fighting for all the wrong thing. He called it cosplay. That's what I mean, when I say, I don't rep no red, black and green flag. People like, that's the African flag. No, that's a flag with no resources behind it and no money and no anything. It's just a flag that makes you feel good. I want this American flag to do something for me and do something for me that it didn't do for our ancestors in this country. I want it to cough up some resources. I don't want to rep a flag and put on stuff and just make myself feel good for the reason of making myself feel good and walk around talking about Egypt and Hotep this and Hotep that. I'm not interested. And if you come to me talking about that stuff, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not interested. God,
Yeah, I like what I like about that.
Form a group. Get yourself a
Yes.
watch show.
Yes.
Just look at what they doing. Let's watch. And it's not just about me. Some people put stuff in the comments all the time like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to research that. And we do back and forth.
Form
and
a
I think,
group.
you know what I think I'm going to do?
What are you gonna do?
I think I'm going to eventually, I got so many projects. We got our intern
We
working
got
on a lot
what?
of stuff.
We got iTunes. Tell the people about iTunes.
We got iTunes. If you all can look up iTunes, but I'm going to eventually do something else. If you all can look up iTunes, if you go to iTunes and look up, you can find the Breaking Brown there. So we put it on iTunes. I heard a lot of you say, well, I can't find that. I need to, YouTube will let me multitask, but you can find it on iTunes as well. But don't be on iTunes all the time because we don't get paid from iTunes. I'm just saying. And I think I'm going to, like a lot of people want to keep the conversation going. And it doesn't, YouTube is just kind of a little bit difficult. I'm not saying I'm there, but I think I'm going to do a forum on Breaking Brown as well, and have a forum where we keep this conversation going in a setting that I don't have to police trolls as much, because trolls don't really like to spend a lot of time on somebody's personal page because they know they get swiped so quick. So I think I'm going to do that as well, so we can kind of keep, and I'll be in the comments there, so we can kind of keep that conversation going. So that's another one of the projects that I think I'm gonna have to keep going. So
I love this watch party idea.
Yeah, we should have watch parties. You should get together and watch the show and talk and you know and talk to me, and we talk to each other.
Have watch parties. Go sit around, get popcorn, like whatever.
Yeah.
Let us have it. That sounds great.
Someone on my page right now is talking about how people can't be open about their political stance. Because their livelihood may be dependent on their political stance, especially, you know, with the previous election. Yeah,
what kind of
it gets
life is
serious.
that?
It gets serious though. I got folks on my friends list that don't want any negative comments said on their post about Hillary and feel of Hillary supporters or their friends they work with. Yeah. Some of that stuff has to be private, especially depending on where you work. You could work in government or something, or you could work with a bunch of Hillary supporters and they turn on you.
Right.
So you have to do that stuff in private sometimes.
But we can't be
Have an
lying.
alias.
We can't be lying to each other.
Yeah.
About how much we're in debt or how we're living, or like we can't, like that just distorts everyone's view of reality. We need to be honest with each other for a black politics that works. So go ahead and lie to other people, but don't lie to other black people.
That's true.
It's not worth it. All right, let's keep this moving.
Yep, let's keep it moving.
We'll go 6.
Hello? I think I know who that is.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Is this Yvette?
Yes.
Hi, this is Jeanette.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. The reason I'm calling in is, first of all, I love your show.
Thank
and
you.
I just got turned on to it, but I really enjoy listening to you. And I just want to say that I just want you to keep up the good work. I hear you. I've been saying a lot of things that you're saying right now to my kids and my family members and my friends. And we're all listening to you. We share you on Facebook, and we also donate too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I just want to say that I really enjoy your show. And if we can do more, we're going to get together tomorrow and we're going to sit down and talk about how we can do more, because we are one of the group that I used to live in Brooklyn, and we moved out of Brooklyn because of the crime and everything. You know, we were pushed out of Brooklyn because we wanted to save our own children, and we moved to the suburbs and stuff like that. And we find that, you know, when we first moved there, you know, it was a lot of white people there, and they were very prejudiced, and they all moved out. So now we're in the suburbs with a whole black new community, and we're finding that all the stores that are opening up, all the businesses are all Spanish. How is it that all Spanish people are moving to the community? They don't even live here. They're just owning all the restaurants, owning all the stores. But every time any of us trying to get one of these businesses, we can't. You know, and it's like, you know, we all have good jobs. All of our children have graduated from college, and that's the big thing. You know, we were told, like, oh, you have to graduate from college, but all our children have graduated from college, and they didn't get jobs. So all our children ended up at home with us.
Yeah.
You know, they're working now, but it's very stressful. You're so right about the depression. You know, the boys and the girls. All of them are depressed because they feel like, hey, I did the right thing. I went to college. I graduated. Why can't I get a job? Or they start out and they intern for free. So they go from one internship to another, working for free for these companies, big companies, Viacom, and all of this big stuff that you see, but they're working for free. Okay, they're not offering them any money. And then after they do the intern, they just say, oh, well, we don't need you. You know? And that really sucks because they put in all this work, but they cannot get a job with these companies. So you know what we do? With the next group of our kids is graduating, so we put them into the same internship with the same company because they say, okay, you didn't hire this one because he looked a certain way. Let's see if you hire this one. And the next group may get the job.
You
Wow.
know, but we believe in helping all our family members, all our friends. We help each other out. We help our children out. We understand that, hey, we have to help. You have to speak out and say, listen, you didn't get that job, but my cousin is getting ready to graduate and need an internship. We're going to send him there and see what happens. They get the internship, and they may get the job. You know, so we just keep pushing and we keep trying, and we just tell our children, hey, stay strong, stay up and mobile. You know, it's a shame we have to tell our kids to stay calm, cool, and collected because they go and they work around these people, and they're threatened by our men. Number one, threatened by our men. You know, so we raise them to be respectful, but don't be a sellout. Don't sell out. If you believe in something and it's your belief, stand true to your belief. Don't let anyone change your mind because they say, oh, it can't be done this way. Oh, you shouldn't look this way. No, if you believe in it, then it can be done. And I'm just saying, I'm sorry for all of this, but I'm just saying that it's really hard, but we're really trying very hard with our children. And you know, our children are not teenagers. They're college graduates, all of us. Generation. I graduated from college. My son and my daughter graduated from college. But when I graduated from college, I got a job. I was able to raise my kids. But now my kids are graduating from college and they can't get a job. It's really sad. And I understand that they're depressed. And they're saying, like, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. You did things right. You know, so I don't know, Yvette, tell us what to do.
Thank you, Carla. I appreciate that, Carl, and I appreciate. You know what I appreciate about that, Carl? I appreciate appreciate you being honest. Yeah. We don't have enough honesty. We don't have enough honesty, and I don't think. Like I think what happened is just like what you described. Like we were told that that's the key to success. If you go to get your college education, that's going to be the key to unlock that door to the middle class for you. And I think what a lot of black kids are finding is I came out of there and there is no door. I have a key, but I ain't got no door. And I don't think there's anything that you're doing wrong. As a matter of fact, I think what you're doing is right. I think you're not making your kids feel guilty. You're telling them that it's not them, that this is how society is working now in terms of calcifying wealth at the top, that the jobs are leaving. And that a lot of the jobs, you know, is you know somebody and you're white, you know, especially because how are you going to know somebody in the HR department? So I think you're telling them all the stuff that's right. What other black people have to stop doing, is telling their kids, oh, well, you supposed to be out of my house, blah, 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 blah. No, you don't understand how any of that works. You don't understand that you didn't even get them any wealth transfer to be out your house. And what worked for you didn't work. It's not going to work for them. And a lot of people have kids living at home and won't talk about it. Or they're blaming the kid that's living at home. It's not their fault if they're applying for jobs and can't get. They're applying for internships and can't get it. It's not their fault that they're not working somewhere off on their own in a different state or whatever. Because even that takes wealth transfers. I'll tell you a quick story. When I graduated from Howard, I worked in D.C. I worked on Capitol Hill for a while. I was only able to do that because my parents paid my car note and my parents paid my car insurance. Now, how did my parents were factory workers, how did they do that? Well, because they had security. They had jobs that weren't at that time going anywhere. These were secure factory jobs that weren't going anywhere. My parents had been at those jobs for years. So they had the money to give me a wealth paying somebody's car note insurance is a wealth transfer. Now, I'm not saying that, like, you can be in D.C. without a car. They got Metro, but it's not the same. You can't even be out at an event somewhere because you got to be on the Metro before it closes. Do you know what I mean? So it's like all of that stuff goes in together, but that was also during a time of affirmative action, all that stuff. All those doors are closing. The manufacturing jobs are going overseas. So even the stuff that kind of allowed me to be here talking to you because my parents could do what they did is not available anymore at the rate that it was. It's slimming down. And so one of the things that the caller said, which was so important, is like she tells her kids you didn't do anything wrong. You have to encourage your kids. You have to love them, and you have to try different strategies. And you have to know that this isn't about you. So don't get depressed about it because it's not about you. You didn't create this society. You were not the architect of this. And you should be blaming the society and trying to fix it, as opposed to blaming your kid, your flesh and blood right there. So,
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and the big thing that Piketty said, it's not income anymore. It's wealth.
Yep.
So it's not how much you're making out your first year on the job that's making the difference in American life right now. It's how much your people are worth. And we just don't come from the kind of people who are worth the kind of money that can buy you a house in New York so you can work an internship for a few years so that you can then get like a great job.
Yeah.
Like that's just not the kind of people we come from. But those are the kind of people who are making the money we need. So like wealth, not income, is what's doing the work. Like those $40,000 weddings.
Well, somebody just said, my coworkers give their kids down payments on their first houses.
Yes.
They pay their kids bills.
Yes.
And these kids are in their late 20s. They pay their insurance premiums.
There's nothing wrong with that if you have it.
But we don't get it. What you understand, what you have to look at in terms of life most of the time is that a lot of us don't get, two things are going on. A lot of us don't get what these people are getting. And we're not looking at our lives in terms of what we don't get and in terms of what we're missing that they're getting. Another thing that's going on is that a lot of people who are getting these wealth transfers, like I was honest with you about my parents paying my car. Like a lot of people who are getting these wealth transfers aren't being honest about it. I'm not talking about black people now. Have boomer parents who are giving them wealth transfers but are being dishonest about it. And they're leading black people. And they're not black in the same way that you're black, in the sense of they're not living like some other black people live, like somebody in the South Side, in the ghetto or whatever, a single parent. They're not living like that, who didn't have boomer parents. But they're leading you and telling you that they did something wrong, that you're doing something wrong, but they're not telling you what they got from their black boomer parents who benefited from affirmative action. So you have white people lying, and you have a small group of black people who are also lying about what they got and how they got it. And the small group of black people who are lying are the leaders of the black community. And you wonder why we're in such a mess.
Let's keep it moving.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Yvette?
Yes, how you doing?
Hey, this is Tish Allen. I am so happy I finally got through to you.
How you doing?
Great. And I just want to say really quick that both of you, all of you, are doing a great job. And I know people tell you that all the time, but I honestly, I'm just proud that we have people that get on the media and not necessarily talking with emotion, but talking with common sense from a logical standpoint. Whether I agree on it all or not, it's still from a logical standpoint. It makes it sound like we are better than what the media portrays us to be. Now, I got 2 points that I want to speak on. And the first one that's most important, more than any of this stuff really matters to me, is addressing mental health.
Okay.
We have relationships where we're not in relationships and don't really understand the identity of what relationships are. So if we can't find unity inside of our households, how are we supposed to be finding unity outside in the community? We have when this is your money and this is my money. This is your thing and this is my thing. Oh, you didn't pay your half of the rent. Well, I don't have it. Well, then I paid your half last month. You give me my money back. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's not right. And we attack each other on a normal basis, whether it's about an opinion, whether it's just getting somebody involved in something else, what they got to do, what politics got to do, what Donald Trump got to do, what any of this has to do with our household. That ain't going to pay the bills. Fool. Yes, it is. That's exactly how it's going to pay the bills. It's exactly what's going to be missing out of your check. Then you're more comfortable with security in white America. Those days are gone. If you secure the job, fine, great. We can all say that and be proud of something that we did accomplish, because most people can't even do that. But the fact of the matter is that man decides to move his business to China because of politics. then you don't have no income no more. And you know you don't have enough money to be saved. And just like the last caller said, in regards to what's going on in our own communities, that we get scared to death and got to move our children outside into the suburbs. Now, here it is, as pro-black as I am, I'm surrounded by a bunch of white people. Now, I may be 20% black, and it's a black side of town, but unfortunately, I may be doing just a tad bit better than the black side of town. So my income will bring me where I can afford a little bit better, but really, I can't even afford this. It's too much because it's slip and fall, and it's over. Yes, people act so proud. Oh, you run your own business. It ain't making no money. Not when you're done paying these bills, not when you're done paying these insurances and everything else. But back to addressing mental health. You got people in our community that obviously need attention, medical attention. And they tell these people that, well, because you know how to act appropriately when you're in the crazy home, then we can't keep you in here because you're not crazy. You know how to control yourself. But then they send these people back on the streets with us. We get into relationships with men and women that have been through trials and tribulations throughout their life and then expect to have to deal with someone who is civilized, who knows how to act, who knows how to respect you and respect others. That is something we first need to address. The mental health crisis that's going in. If men don't have respect for women and women don't have respect for men, then none of this matters. Then none of this matters because I can't bring my child and my family to no black functions for something to pop off. And that's just the realities of it. When too many black folks get together, something's going to happen. And what happens? Your children, you, and everybody else is immune to this stuff. We see this stuff all in our community. We see the arguments, we see the craziness, but we can go into cause and effect of what caused this and all the rest of this stuff. But the fact of the matter is that it's happening, and it's happening now. What do you do? Number two, I want to go into investments. I know we keep sitting over here talking about what it is that we need from the government and everywhere else. And yes, I'm all for reparations, and I'm ready to fight for it in any shape or form. But the realities is that we got to stop supporting these other people's businesses. And you can't do that with just one person. And the fact of the matter is they still doing it, even though I'm pretty sure the majority of Black America didn't heard from all type of leaders. Stop investing in other people. Stop buying their stuff. Invest in your own people. But it's not happening. It's not happening. And so what do you do? What do you do when you go and those are the pair of shoes that they want and our stores are not right around the corner? What do you do? At the end of the day, I look up and I see things that's going on in Africa while we always try to disconnect ourselves from them. But it's things going on in Africa that white people are getting involved in and building wealth from that. They're going out there and they're buying acres and property and land for $1,000, $2,000. Then they're going over there using their equipment and stuff, and they're taking this money out of these people's country as they make their profits. And then what do? They don't give back to their community. They don't fund our community. They don't sponsor anything in our community. Our sponsors, we have no sponsors. They're gone. And so then what do you do? So I don't understand why it isn't someone at this point in time, whether it's our elite or whoever, that can be putting us up on education. Because the fact of the matter is, when I did come across 50,000 or 20,000 or 10,000, which a lot of Black people do come across a lump sum a couple of times in their life, you don't know what they invested in. We don't have education on what to do. You don't even learn about things with savings and banks and all of this until you've grown and it messed up your credit. What is it? How do we go about informing our kids? And so, people are against, the charter schools. Okay, the charter schools to me is a perfect outlet for Black people to get these charter schools, just like this one in Chicago, where all of them, they graduated in every year or whatever. But they getting these charter schools, that gives us access to teaching our own history. It gives us access to teaching other things that's necessary to survive, necessary to build. Instead of public way, they really ain't teaching us what's necessary to survive in life. But in addition to what's going on over there.
Thank you, caller. I appreciate your call. I'm going to address that. But I think the problem with charter schools, listen, these people who, whatever you want to call them, the powers that be, who kind of run our society, these people who they are, like they have a game plan, right? They have a game plan, and part of their game plan, as they see it, part of their game plan is the school to prison pipeline, because there's going to have to be something done to black people, because we can't just be in the streets with no jobs. So that's why you see a charter school, the school to prison pipeline. There was a great article in U.S. News, you can Google it, that says the school to prison pipeline at charter schools is on fire. Basically, the school to prison pipeline is crazy in terms of they send more black kids. You know, they send more black kids, suspend more black kids. So that's what we're getting set up for. To me, charter schools are just like, and you know, it's not all charter schools, because they have to give us some great examples so that we'll say it's okay. So that's what they always do. They give with one hand and take it with another. So that you have to say that. So what they do is they give us a few good charter schools that have great graduation rates, and then they give us the rest of them are just not good schools or not better than public schools, and then you don't have any control over the charter school, because the charter school has its own private board. It don't have to answer to a school board. It don't have to answer to you. I'm always nervous when I have any school that doesn't have to answer to me. If I have a school board, those people get elected. They have to answer to me. They have to answer to people in the public, the government. Charter schools don't have to answer to you. So that's one of my many problems with charter schools, where they fire teachers and hire white people. But that's just one of my problems. You know. But even in terms of what she was saying, in terms of like, you know, these people come and take out of our communities and don't give back because they see us. Like, you have to understand, we're here, as far as they're concerned, we're here for extraction. So what you have to kind of do once you realize that is start being hip to the game and say, I'm not going to allow you to extract. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to go make your own shoes. You still got to go to Kroger or Safeway or wherever you shop for the most part. But what I'm talking about is the level of extraction that you feel like you're always chasing something all the time. It's one thing going to buy stuff that you need at a grocery store. It's another thing to always feel like you have to have that next thing, because capital is manipulating you and making you feel you have to have that next thing, because they're dressing the latest celebrity in that next thing you just saw, or whatever that next thing is. These people are always trying to extract from us. And what they do is they set us up to fail, and then they put stuff in our community so that they can make money off of our failure. Everything from the title loan plays to the all the predatory lending, that is just to extract from our community. And we're not taught to invest because they know that we're not going to have the money to invest. There's no intention for us to be anything. There's no intention behind that for us. So they're never going to teach us to do anything like that. And most of us don't. Middle black family has $1,700. And one thing the caller said was very important. She's like, I'm one slip and a fall away. It's not really that great. That's what most of us are. But we don't want to talk about it. It's time to start talking about it. And to talk about whether living one slip and fall away is the best thing for us. And maybe we can find some sane black people to live with or near while this storm comes and it's blowing. Because the storm is coming and it's here. And ain't nothing you're going to be able to do about it. White people can't do nothing about it. It's coming. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and look at the other video which says your life's about to get wicked. They don't care about mental health. Ronald Reagan ended that, mental health. They don't care. Doesn't matter to them. These rich people, go and read. There's a great article called The Rise of the Global Elite. It was in the Atlantic in 2011. They don't even have to live here. They don't care what we do, what happens to us in these streets. So the only thing we have is our politics and each other. Our politics and each other. That's it. What are you going to do with both of those? How are you going to manage with each other and with politics? So I think we have time for one last call, Aaron.
All right, let's do it.
Look at these comments.
Hello?
How you doing?
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, I'm just trying to make sure it's me. Is this Yvette?
Yes.
Yvette, it's Jean. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good, Jean. How are you?
I'm great. Could be better. We could all use a little more money.
Uh-huh.
I just want to touch on a few things.
Okay.
Number one, I want you to know, and I want your audience to know that black baby boomers, of which that's what I am, we have let you all down. We failed to teach you what we were taught. And that is part of the reason why you see what Black America's state is today. So for that, I apologize. The second thing I want to say is we haven't made much economic stride and advance since Clinton's election. And I hope people understand what that means. We have not made much black economic stride since Clinton. Clinton helped to bring us down. It was in place with Reagan, and Clinton carried it out.
Okay.
The third thing I want to say is we need to be very careful about the laws that we have on the books right now. The affirmative action laws, the minority set-aside money laws, all those things that created black households to stay together and live happily and comfortably. Because now they don't apply to us.
This is good.
You see, that was our fight for citizenship in this country.
Yeah, this is
That
important.
was our fight for our share of the pie.
Yes.
Now they no longer apply. I don't know if your callers know, but if you are a minority-owned business and you want to go after a federal contract for minority-owned set-aside money,
Yes.
you only have to be 51% of that business. That's all you have to own. The other 49% can be owned by a white man, and that's what's happening in this country. 51% also means a white woman. We're out. We've been out for a long time. They locked us out a long time ago. The other thing I want to say is, and you touch on this all the time, and I hope you really do something to really delve into it. The advances that we need to be making right now in black economics needs to be about citizenship. We're owed in this country. The government owes us before it owes any other group in this country. And we have to demand that. We have to stick to that and demand that. That's the only way we're going to get ahead. Because we've lost a lot of ground in this country. So citizenship and black economics needs to be our focus point from here on out.
Yeah.
Because we do live in a capitalist country. That's not going to change.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
Kitchen table talk. This has nothing to do with your politics. This has nothing to do with anything involved with government. This is just for black folks' kitchen table talk.
Okay.
Okay?
But we
We
need.
have to go with what works. Okay? 28% of black families have no fathers in the home. That's a problem. There's strength in numbers across all sectors of society. So if your numbers are not right in your home, if you are a single parent in your home with mouths to feed, there's only one of you bringing in money. That's a problem. We need to get back to black families because families create wealth in this country. That's how you get your money in this country. You have a family. You have a two-parent household. Both people work. That's how you teach your children, and that's how you train your children. Now, for the caller, bless her heart, I felt my heart just went out to her when she called and she moved to the suburbs out of Brooklyn, the caller there, the young lady there, you know, and she asked you, what should she do? I want to give her some unsolicited advice.
Okay.
Put yourself in a position to not depend on somebody giving you a paycheck. Black folks, unless you are just the kind of person that has no get up and go, okay, which is really not basically true of black people, because I feel like all black people are hustlers in one way or another. That's the history of black folks. We've always had to hustle and make do. Those are two things we know how to do. Put she should put herself in a position where she can create her own job.
How?
See, we fail to understand of what entrepreneurship means.
How though? Like that's what's always missing is the how. The how is what's always missing.
We fail to understand that we have talent. We've got to understand that we can do anything we want to do. She has a talent. All she has to do is make money off of it. That's what you do. It could be writing. It could be singing.
No.
Ain't
nobody paying us to sing.
No, sorry. No.
Ain't nobody. But Gene, thank you, Gene. I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in.
Nope,
but here's the thing. Like the caller who called in is supporting all of her kids. She's supporting all of her kids.
Yeah,
she can't go and sing and play a harmonica, right? And still support all of people think like just because you have a talent doesn't mean it's necessarily somebody's gonna pay you for. You can start singing like Barry White right now. That don't mean that you can go somewhere right now and get a record contract.
No.
And even if you sell your stuff on YouTube, you might get gas money. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do anything with it. Like this, our talents are not like transferable into like, and it's not just like.
Black people keep your job is what I'm trying to say.
But she's keeping her job, right? When you ask her what to do,
money.
And for solutions, like you can't say, well, everybody has a talent.
No. She could sing.
Because her kids have talent and they're going in for jobs, they're going in for interns and they're not getting those jobs.
Right.
I think Jean, because she said some really good stuff at the beginning, but I think towards the end it was just like I think that's that boomer advice again.
Yeah.
And like not understanding that life has changed in a way that they have never experienced. So I can't expect them to kind of know because they haven't experienced like your talents don't mean that you get paid for them. Like, you know, maybe you want to go, you know, put a hat out and play the harmonica. I don't know. But like that doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily get paid for that.
All right. So people, Yvette's a very talented woman. Do you think we make money off of that?
Real money?
Like we're not living like, look, if you want us to like, do well, you need to tell your friends to subscribe. And we get we get money off of like donations from you. Yeah. Like we're not getting money off of like, you know, nobody saw us and just like, oh, we're gonna bring y'all in. No. That's not how it works. No, and since we're gonna be telling the truth, MSNBC isn't gonna offer us a contract.
No, and it's just that doesn't matter how good I talk. It doesn't matter how much Army researches. And how good he is at writing. None of that stuff will matter to them. So that having that talent, somebody has to be willing to buy it. Somebody that has money. And that's not happening. So that's why we get money from you. And we appreciate all of it because I like being owned by black people. For the most part. I thank you white people too who give. I appreciate it. I take all dollars. All dollars are welcome. But I'm just saying, I like that. But I'm just like, no. Like, it's not like that day, maybe, was it that day? Like you can't go. Like maybe I don't know. You used to be able to go sing in the cotton club or something. Like
someone's in Los Angeles trying to like figure out how to buy a house for like I don't know what's a house costing in LA now $300,000, $400,000.
It's more than that, ain't it?
Yeah, but she's telling them to quit their job and use their talent. No.
Well, she didn't say quit your job, but she's like everybody has a talent. Like no, she's going to work. She's going to work. Like nobody wants to buy your novel. You know what I mean? Like most of the time,
I've written 2 novels.
No, but white writers are having a hard time selling their wares.
Yes.
You know what I mean? People talk about the problem with publishing and people are like, I saw something online on Amazon.com one day where this dude he had a process of like writing like 30 books a year. Like they were all just like small little books, you know what I mean? Or something like that. But in order to just keep the income generation going to the level he needed to come, that's a lot of work. And even back then, like if you read like the Paris Review and you read some of the stories of writers, there's a great what's her name? Oh my God, she's a witty writer, white woman, very witty woman.
Yeah, well,
come on, y'all, give me the witty white woman.
There are a few of them.
No, but she's real witty. She's real witty. Dorothy Parker, in the name of
yeah.
She had they asked her in the Paris Review like, why do you write? You know, and she said, for the money, darling. You know, something of that nature. I mean, because they have to get somebody to help them, or they have to just keep writing for money, or a lot of them went to universities and worked. Like it wasn't the case that you could just you had to teach literature and write or something. It wasn't the case most of the time that you could just write unless you were a damn good writer. You can just write and just be good. So I think that's kind of where we are. And I think, that's what it is. And so we have to understand that life has changed. I think boomers have to understand that life has changed. I think everybody has to understand that everything is understood through a particular lens. You come of age during a particular time, and this is what it is. And it's not the same as it was then, and it won't be the same tomorrow. We will have to live and adjust accordingly to whatever happens. And that's the solution. And because you cannot adjust to whatever happens if you don't know what's happening and how life is changing right around you. So if you want a solution, that's a solution. And all the information is available to you. Everybody that you want to know. It ain't a case no more that Capital can hoard information from you. It is all available. And it is up to you to go and find it and decide what to do with it, ladies and gentlemen. And you have that. And that is your solution of this evening. And before we go again, please share this video. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you can tweet it out. Go to donatebrown.com and donate. Go to subscribe to Brown and subscribe to my mailing list. I'm going to do some very interesting things with that coming up soon. Go to breakingbrown.com and subscribe to donate monthly. And
look, we need some YouTube. We need YouTube subscribers. Let's get us to 50,000, y'all. We've been growing. We need to grow a little bit faster. Let's get us. We can improve our services. Maybe do another show. Let's keep this growing. Tell your friends. All right, take care.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. I tell you.